An evening stream is about to start, guys. And well, to begin with, I did do a little bit without turning on the stream. I have this example N file here that shows what I did because I just got the Google client key and the Google secret from my credentials in Google Cloud because I wanted to start doing some Google authentication stuff. Maybe I will need to change something and I need to do it on the other screen just to not show that in the main part. I don't want to leak those credentials for now. If I accidentally do, it's no problem. I can just reset it and it's okay. And besides, these are not currently used for anything, so it really doesn't matter much. But I am a little bit conscious about what I share on stream. So I try probably not to do it. I'm not sure yet. I'll probably need to reset them anyway. But okay, so I got this env example, which is not in the git ignore, but the actual real file is. So that way it doesn't end up in the git log, and in the readme later we could maybe add, or I can even now add it. I can be like installation rename dot example dot env and provide Google credentials. Yeah, for now I'm just going to write that real quick in there so we don't forget. And then I also configured a redirect URL for API Google. That should that's where it will go back to after it has signed in the user, hopefully. So yeah, there's a lot to do. I still, I actually think, well, we'll see. I think I need to still configure the origin in that thing. So I will probably still have to do a bit of on there. But yeah, let's dive into it. Let's start to get Google Authentication in our app. So let's see where we are now. Do I have the app running? No, this is the server. Let's run the app. So last time we ended here. Let's see if everything runs. Yeah, I don't need to show that for now. So yeah, for now we have this and play songs. So yeah, very good. We had a music app, but now I really want to do the sign in for this app. I want everyone to have an account. Also, I've been thinking about a name for this app. Because yeah, obviously I'm not going to call it Spotify. I'm going to think of something else. I've been calling it music app, as you can see here, music app. But that also I don't really like as a name. So let's maybe call it shower singer, because I realized what I might want to start to do with this app is try to make it, I think the product name I want it to be we'll change that later. But what I want to do with this app, maybe I'm gonna try this out, is like have people play songs, but then you actually record yourself singing to the song, and then that recording of you singing to the song gets added, or if you want, it gets kind of published. Maybe only with your friends if I put in a friend system, maybe publicly, or maybe just privately. Like I'm probably gonna have options for that. But I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just making up a product, obviously. But yeah, I'm thinking about just recording the song that you sing, and then you can play it later together with other voices. So you can kind of play at the same time, everyone singing the same song, and kind of really get that group singing feeling going on. I'm not sure what I think about this yet. This is just an idea that hit my head. And the idea of the name Shower Singer is funny to me because, you know, if you're too shy to sing normally, then it's usually people say like I do sing in the shower, like that's kind of the safe space for singing. So I thought maybe to call the app this Shower Singer is like identifies with some of those people that are a bit shy. I want to try it out using more like an app. instead of going to the karaoke bar or something. I'm not sure. I mean, this is just a stupid idea, but it gives us something to aim for, something to do with this app that is a bit special and that involves microphone, uploading files, account management. And that's also why in this stream, what I really just want to do is get to the authentication part, because that's also the part that is more useful for anyone watching the stream. If you're an app developer, then you will likely want something like Google Sign-in at some point. So yeah, that's why I want to build it. And I was thinking about how do I actually build it, because I haven't done it before. I mean, using normal websites a bit, but I haven't done it for Electron, and I was thinking like, is there a special way that I should do it here? And I think there is. I think there is something I should try. I'm probably gonna have to research quite a bit, but I was thinking let's just do this on stream. Let's just figure it out and see where we can go. So first of all, I'm going to try to open a URL from inside the app that just redirects. It just opens a server URL, which then redirects you to Google. So I'm thinking about always starting off with going to our own API, and then from there on we deal with the redirection. So I guess we'll have to just, and I guess for now I don't even need to start in the app. I could type the URL directly in here, so that makes it easy. So let's just say I'm going to first check the URL. So the URL, and I'm going to say the index of maybe Google sign in equals 0. There. Then I'm going to redirect you to Google. So redirect, is it, I don't know, permanent redirect 302, or is that temporary? Let's remember 302 status code is temporary. I think temporary is good. That's fine. So 302, and then I think you need to provide the location. If I remember correctly, I think I've been doing capitalization here. I'm not exactly sure, again, what exactly this is. Oh, wait, now this is also interesting. Normally I do this redirect directly from the browser, but this time thinking of having a server-side auth flow. So let's figure out how to do this. So Google oAuth redirect. Let's see if they have something. Implementing a Node.js. Let's double check again. Yeah. Create credentials, done all that, did all this. That should all be fine. What is the URL that they're redirecting to is all I really want to know. Here, and this is it. Yeah, and then they have the token. Yeah, I think this first one is the one I'm interested in for now. But I think you need to provide some query parameters to it. So let me check if they do that somewhere. Ah, here. There, perfect. Thank you. Now I'm not gonna, this URL doesn't change, so I'm gonna keep that, I'm gonna hard code that part. But I do have these other parts, client ID, but they're coming from my env file, so I need to, have I already got .env? Yeah, I already have .env. So I think if I just do import .env, that should be, I think, enough to get my variables in here. Process env. I think I'm calling it Google Client. Let's check the example. Google Client, Google Secret. And the callback URL. So first of all, I think to make this URL, I need to encode it, right? So that would be, I think that's default provided, encode URI components. And then the redirected URL is HTTP localhost 8080 / API / Google. I think it's that. And an access type offline. Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, sure. I'll just keep that. Response type code, state. Yeah, I think you're supposed, for security, you're supposed to give a state. I think I don't do that generally. I forgot which scope I'm supposed to give. I want like really just the basic one. I just want to know their email address because that's really what I'm going to hook everything on. Let's see, state. This value passes the request and must be included in the response of the, yeah. So you can give something and then you know that you should get it back, that same one. For now, I think we're just not going to give it. You can use this to make sure you don't get like a replay attack or something, like where someone's sniffing the network and see the request and make it again. So there is definitely a lot of security things to look at still. And I want to do that in a separate stream probably because it's kind of a serious topic and I want to give it the respect that it needs. For now, I want to just not be hassled too much by security and just get to the point where it's working. And we'll just update it slowly, piece by piece. And we're not in production anyway, so this is not yet a concern for me right now. But I know that providing a state can be used for that. Okay, so then the access type, or no, let's see, the scope. I need a list of scopes. Let's see, because I think it's like comma separated list of scopes. Oh shit, the scopes are super long. Do they give an example of the scopes they use? Oh, there. Oh shit, I think I saw it. I mean, I've already, here. I think actually these two are also what I do. So that's great. Oh, and he already, that's actually a problem. He already encoded them. But I'm not, I encode them later. So, let's see. This is becoming a bit of a annoying URL to write. Let's turn it into a function. Let's say get redirect URL. And later you could even maybe add an argument for like, no, get authenticate URL or get authentication, get auth URL. Get auth redirect URL. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. Just let's get auth URL. And then we'll take this and say, just simplify it. And then shove it into this massive string that we're going to return. And then put that in there. And then map over them, where we take the scope and we return the encoded URI component version of that scope. Actually, no, we can just join them first. Sorry, join with commas. I think you're supposed to join it with commas. Oh, they join it with spaces. Well, in that case, yeah, well, maybe it's still nicer to keep things separate like this. It's okay, I guess. Okay, and then around the whole thing, I'll do another encode URI component. That should work fine. Okay, let's see if it works. I added the scopes, I added the callback, I have my, so I do all the same things to create the same URL, so that should all be good. Let's see if that works. And then we can do res end, I guess. Do a little return in front of it. There we go. So if I go to Google sign in, I'll be redirected to this. Now I really believe I have to configure the origin or something, but let's see what happens. Who cares? Yeah. So I should be able to just restart my server. Oh, npm run start. And then is this microphone aimed at me? Anyway. Okay, so start and then localhost 8080. What's the URL again? Google sign in. Okay, so wonderful. What's happening here? Yeah, invalid value for access control, allow origin. So I don't have an origin right now. I'm trying to put in, I guess I can say, or if there is none, then I'll just do a star, because then it should probably be a get request, and it's okay. Starting again. Yeah, that worked, but invalid client. Let's see the error details. Invalid client, flow name, general auth flow. Yeah, I think, again, I hope that this is just because I had to still configure something. Let me just do this real quickly on the other screen. So, I'm going to add it to the authorized JavaScript origins, localhost 8080. Save. Okay, I saved it. And let's try to see if I can again do the same thing. So localhost 8080 sign. Same issue, invalid client. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to just do it from, but I don't have an origin, right? Like if I do it from anywhere else, I don't have an origin. Maybe it's the wrong flow. Maybe this is just not the flow I'm supposed to do. What did they do? They said, they just redirected. Yeah, that's what I did as well. What did they configure? Because maybe they configured something that I did not. It's definitely this one, right? Yeah, that's the one. So I did the same. They're using Express or something. Authorized JavaScript origins, they do localhost as well. It's hard to read. Web application. I do the same. This is all the same. That's very strange because they're doing the exact same thing I'm just doing. Maybe the client is not loaded properly. I doubt it, but let me see. I can't see it, so let me just console log it. The client is actually not data that I'm too worried about sharing. That should be okay. Sign in. Undefined. Ah, well, that explains a lot. But why wouldn't it be reading the end file? I thought .env automatically reads it. .env Node.js. Let's see. Yeah, I did that. Require .env and config. Oh, I need to execute config. Oh, okay. When I'm using ES6, you just need to import /config. Okay. Well, that explains it. Let's see what now happens. Missing parameter. So it's still saying the same thing. Yeah, in fact, I'm not getting a log. Oh, I think I'm maybe... Okay, let me double check if I have the right name. Google client, Google client. No, it looks fine. Oh, I put a break there. Oh, that's stupid. Okay. Yeah, that was my mistake. But okay, we're back. Let's close everything else. All right, now finally I stopped making silly mistakes, I hope, and I can just execute this thing and get a redirection. Great, that's a good start. Oh, right, but because I'm not signed in here, I get this issue. I guess for now we will do a little bit of testing on my main browser, my normal browser, where my Gemini also lives. So yeah, it's okay, I hope. 8080 Google sign in. Great. Continue. Great. Okay, that was great. Because now it redirects to API Google with a code. And that's wonderful. And so I should maybe have another Google account that I can test with. Sorry, let me read what you're saying. Hey, Peterbuck, what's your age? I'm 31. So, okay, we got the code. That's what I need to make the further request. In fact, that how long have I been coding? I've been coding since, well, professionally since 16. But I started already like dabbling in some websites when I was like 10 years old. 21 years ago. Hey everyone. Okay, so let's see. We've got our initial code request back, and I can now process that. In fact, that tutorial we were following probably talks exactly about everything, so that's easy to do. I want to get to the point where I know who this user is, so I can create a session object in my fake database, and then I can send the session object or the ID of that session back to the user. How many projects are you having on your computer? Many, many. Okay, so let's see. Google Access Token. I think that's also my next step. I probably need to go get the access token and then get the info. So I mean, these URLs are exactly what I need. Let me just copy them here for a second. Okay, let's see. Okay, this guy gets the code here. I have the same. I need to get it from the URL parameter, but it's easy. And he gets the data, makes a fetch request from inside Node.js, I guess, and gets the access token. I don't really mind having to copy this, like it's totally fine for me. So now we're gonna, well, I'm thinking maybe this entire thing I want to move. So let's say if the request is Google sign in, then return Google or redirect to Google. Move this over here. Take this entire URL and shove it in there. And I don't need to return anymore here, and it's all pretty easy. Oh, I do think I will just move. Now I'll just put the rest in here. Put it in there. That's fine. The response goes in there. Okay. And then we call it redirect to Google. There you go. So that's step number 1. We don't need the return anymore. That's nice. Okay. We are on. Now we come back on API Google. So let's do that. If the request URL index of /API/Google is 0, then, so this is the receiving. So we have to figure out who this person now is. Handle Google response, or maybe authenticate Google. I'm not happy with these names. They're all a bit shit. Let's just call this a redirect. And let's call this a sign. And we want to read the request in this case. So we want to get both the request and the response just like this. Okay, so now we need to, and again, in the URL, we saw that here already. Oh, in the other browser, I guess, in this one. So you see the word code here, that's what we need to get out. So we need to get the code out of the URL. How do you do that? We need to parse the parameters. What was the best one again to use? Hey, Gemini, quickly parse a parameter from the search. I think it's usually called search or query, or from the query. Parse a URL query parameter in Node.js. Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Here's how to do it. You get URL. So that's just a default import URL from URL. And then how does he do it? URL. Okay, he says new URL params get. Wait a minute. Why would you need this then? This code is nonsense. That's very strange. This is quite cool though to use this style. I'm just gonna not go for this because this makes no sense. This code cannot even be correct. So I'm gonna immediately go to the second one, query string. And I don't think that's a default one, so we're gonna have to install it. npm install save query string. I think nowadays they use QS as well, but let's just use this. And so I'm gonna call it QS query string. Let's see, QS parse and split on the question mark and take the last part. So I like that actually, that seems pretty good. Except I'm gonna write it a bit differently, a bit cleaner, but it's a good idea. So const, let's see, code should be in here, equals QS parse, then the request URL, split it on the question mark, but then instead of like grabbing it with the weird one, like this one, like the second value in the array, I'm gonna say pop, because it's always the last one and I wanted to return the last one, so pop is nicer. And then, yeah, and then grab the code out of that. Let's see if we have received the code or not. So if I now go here and I just refresh this thing, true, yeah, we got the code out, so that's great. Oh yeah, we're no longer now responding. I haven't put a response yet. I'm not handling the response, but that's okay. Ah shit. Oh, actually that didn't show the secret, so it's fine. Because I'm using such a small screen now. Okay, so where were we? Now we're going to create this data object apparently. And now you have the secret as well. Okay. And you can see they're doing the same. They get the code directly from the query. Oh, I think that's because of Express doing something. Like I can't do that as far as I know, but I did it in this way, which is fine as well. So now we have this. Process and Google client. And then Google secrets. And then this is also 8080. I don't have it callback. I call it /API /Google. I think that's always my callback. I need to differentiate these two though, but we'll see. We'll see that in a second. So let's see. Response. Yeah, that's okay. I think I'm not sure if I can actually use not sure if I can use fetch. I think I'll just install node fetch. Don't have it installed, so let's try to install that. Okay. Google access token URL. Oh, that's this one. All right, so we're gonna post with this data. Again, I don't like to define variables like this. I just like to put them in directly. But this looks good to me. Okay, so we're gonna get a response. Oh, I can't call this res because we already have it in the global scope. I'm gonna call it raw because I think what I still need to do is get the JSON out. Yeah. And let's make this an async function so that we can do await. Is it safe to show this? I'm starting to think no. This is the issue with doing this kind of stuff on a stream. It's like you don't want to broadcast your entire screen while you're doing this. It might be a bit too boring if I execute everything always like in another window. But yeah, in this case, you know, these are credentials that relate to me and my Google account. So yeah, I'll be a little careful here. I don't like it, but I think I have to. So exit that over here. I'm gonna try bash and move it over. And when I execute the API, I will do it now from this side. Keep things a little more safe. It's maybe a bit excessive, but it's okay. Okay, so where are we going? This is in my music app. And we're gonna run a start there. Also, let me just quickly do like a rest end so that the browser doesn't crash or something. Okay, good. Now I should be able to do localhost 8080 Google sign in. Get redirected, click continue. Okay, let's see. Redirect URI mismatch. So that's weird. API Google. Is that not correct? API Google, localhost 8080. No, it looks good. Oh god, 8,000. Wow, that was an annoying one to find. Well, yeah, that can happen. Okay. Restarting. Going again. Bad request, invalid grant. Well, maybe let's just try one more time if this is not an issue of just doing that again, because it has to maybe be very fast. Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah, now I get a response. I get an access token, and a refresh token. I see the scopes, and I get an ID token. Very important. So we're almost there, and yeah, this code is going to be very useful for anyone who's looking for simple, like server-side authorization, where from the server so let's think about what's happening here, right? We're making a request from the client. We're going to first make a request to our own server. Then our server redirects to Google. Google signs the user in, then redirects them back. And then from there, we're going to again go to the client, or we're going to redirect back to the client. So it's like this little three destination, like three sources where you can redirect to. And that keeps everything kind of clean. Okay, so let's see. We have this data, but now I need to know who this user is. Here, verify and extract information in Google ID token. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. So they want the ID token, which I have in the response. I have that here. And they're gonna go to the token URL, ID token is this, and then just request it. So we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're not gonna use, oh wait, what are they doing? They're fetching again, which is fine. I don't understand why they shove it in here, which is a bit weird, but it's fine. Okay, so we're gonna do the same. And now we're in an async, so it's easier. We do JSON.ID token. Yeah, it's property unknown. Yeah, I guess I'll have to say what this is. But then again, I don't know if that's the case, right? Let's say this is... And I'll just make it a question mark. And I can also say null. So we really don't know what this is. And now I can say if there is no JSON.ID token, we're going to have to handle that by returning some kind of error. So return error. Then give the response. Okay, so right now the way I'm going to handle errors is very straightforward. So I'm going to have server response here. I'm going to just do something very ugly. I'm going to just say res write head. I guess I'm always going to blame the client. So there's a general rule with response codes where anything with 100 in it, 100 something, is like everything's fine. Or yeah, that's everything fine, right? I mean, 200, everything is fine. 100 is status code 100. Continue. 100s are a bit strange. I always forget what the 100s are. 200, everything is fine. 300 is redirects. 400 is it's the client's fault, like that something went wrong. And 500 is anything in the 500 is like the server, something is wrong with the server. But hundreds is, let's see, everything's okay so far. Could continue with the request. Okay, so 100 is like, we're still cool, but you're not done yet. Something like that. Anyway, so it's like grouped up roughly by the hundreds, what the codes mean. And there is actually also the I am a teapot status code. And that really shows you the 418, I'm a teapot. Server refused to brew coffee because it is permanently a teapot. A combined coffee teapot that's temporarily out of coffee should instead return 503. This error is a reference to hypertext coffee pot control protocol defined as an April Fool's joke in 1998. Man, that is programmer humor, peak programmer humor, when they put I'm a teapot in the status codes of a server. 418. You know what? I will send this back. I'm a teapot. And then content type will be plain text. And I will res end with an error has occurred. There we go. So now we're just dealing with that and ending the request, keeping it very simple. Good. We have the JSON here. That's great. Now this token URL is this one. I'm wondering whether we need to encode the URI component of this. I'm assuming yes. So let's just do it to be sure. Encode URI components. There. Because I've always been doing that, so I guess I'll just keep doing it. And that then is the info. And then I want to, well, this is also raw. Right, this was raw and then JSON, and then maybe this is the raw info. I don't know if I like this. No, I don't. Token info. Let's do info anyway, and then say something like data is await info.json. There we go. And you can even check the status codes before you JSON it. You can say like the raw if raw.status. I'm assuming it should be 200. So if it's not 200, then return error res. Like that is kind of the classic way to respond. And the same here. If the info status is not 200, then we're going to end. So we're not even going to try to parse the JSON out of it because we already know this is not JSON. Okay, so now I got my data, and this should tell me something about me. That should be my user object. And then I can get the email, and then I can find the user account based on that, find or create the user account based on that. Then I can create a session, and then I can send that session to our actual app. So it's quite a journey. There's quite a lot of steps, but as you can see, we're kind of gliding through it now, right? We've defined two little routes, one to initiate the redirect, one to handle the response. And then, yeah, after this, we're gonna this one will be at the end redirecting back to the app. And for that, we need to register a custom protocol. So we're gonna do all of that, but for now, let's just see what happens. So, and I wonder if that will work if you're running Electron like without installing it. Maybe that won't even work, but yeah, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, so I'm gonna kill the server, restart it. I'm assuming it'll crash because it's been too long that I'm just not doing much. Localhost 8080, sign in. Yeah, actually it worked. We're not teapots. I can see I have my picture, my name, given name, family name, Yeah, this is a very good token. I can see everything. I can even see that the email is verified. So yeah, that's fantastic. That's really good. Let's say if we don't have data dot, what's the thing I really care about the most? Email. If we have no data email, then we're done. And also let's just say, I mean, maybe just email and email verified, right? Something like that. Email string, email verified. I mean, I might want to get some more data. I want to get the picture out. I want to get your name out. I want to get a bunch of stuff out. So let's say this is a partial user, because then I'm gonna go and get it from. No, maybe just define a custom type for this. This is a Google user. There, and let's go here and then define our Google user. Export type Google user. Okay, so what do we have? We have the email, which is a string. Then we have the email verified. Actually, it's also a string, but it can only be true or false as a string value. Then what does await do? Hugo Boss asks. Well, await is very nice. Actually, you need to understand promises if you want to understand what await does. Maybe it's good for me to talk about this a bit separately. Yeah, I should. Because then I can also turn it into a short later. So that could be very useful for all of you. Let me just first finish this, Hugo. Not completely, but just only this Google user part. Make sure there's no errors in my code, and then we're gonna handle that. Because it is something I should definitely talk about. So we got a string, and then we for the name, and we got the picture, also a string, and that's it for me. I don't need to do anything else now. The rest is all just a bit nonsense that I'm not interested in. So now we can import this from types. Okay, and if we have no data email, we're done. Okay, and we can say, or the data.email verified is not true. Because we want verified emails and emails to be defined, then we're done. So now we are happy, we know who you are, we have a lot of information about you. And what do we want to? We want to go make our user object now, or find the user based on this email. We also will lowercase it just to be sure. So we'll say const email equals email dot to lowercase, just to be sure. I think Google already always does that, but I just want to always make sure that happens. And now I can find the user in my database. In this case, I will just say like to do find user in database. But now I'm going to say the user is just has a certain email address. I'll even add the picture, and I will add picture is of course the data picture or nothing. Is there anything else? Name is data name or nothing. There we go. So we're gonna keep it. This is my user object, and for now let's just JSON stringify this and say that our response is 200 OK, content type. I think here I can just give the headers again. I did this before. Headers of the request. There we go. Then we get the course headers in there too. All right, so now we're good. We have this to do for later. But now I just want to show this so that when I go localhost 8080, I need to restart my server. I also should install something so that doesn't happen. Okay. That's for later. Let's do this. There we go. Email address given, picture, and my name. So there we go. Google sign in. Now, of course, we're going to have to continue and do the whole session management and everything. But for now, I will explain everything I know about await and promises and everything else. So let's keep that over here. Make this a bit smaller. Okay, so where to begin? We're gonna have to make a new file, promises.ps, and talk about promises. And let me make the screen maybe a bit smaller so I kind of keep track of this. Okay, so in JavaScript, we have normal functions. Hello. Console log I. Hello. Okay, we're gonna let's kill this actually. Oh, yeah, but maybe it's not a good idea. No, okay, it's fine. I can kill that. Let me also make this smaller. If I run npx tsx promises, oh, I need to go to the API source npx tsx promises. Does that run? Yes. So this logs high, right? I'm just executing this script. This script just does this. Now let's do 1 and 2. Sometimes you can just, in normal functions, you can imagine if I have these two functions over here, in fact, you can just put them here, but okay. If I execute them in a row, 1 and 2, that just runs 1 and 2, right? But what if over here, I want to actually, open load data from another server, or I want to what if I just wanted to wait? I want to wait 500 milliseconds, right? Then the JavaScript is not able normally with normal functions to do this. So in the past, what they used to do is they used to say, okay, you know what? If you want to wait or do something like this, so let's do this, like loading data from another server takes a certain amount of time. We don't know how long, right? But another example is to wait 500 milliseconds. It's the same thing, right? Like we need to wait. Like that's what it's all about. So you do that, for instance, by saying set timeout. And set timeout is this thing where I can say, okay, wait 5 seconds, 5,000 milliseconds, right? And then do this. So even if I can say console log 1 here, if I execute this now, the 2 immediately comes back, and then the 1 comes back 5 seconds later, and then the program shuts down. Okay? And you can already see with set timeout, this is an example of how you can do this kind of stuff, waiting, in JavaScript without using promises, without using async, without using await, right? You saw me do await, right, Hugo? So, but this is how to do it without those tricks. You give the function, and this function is often called the callback, because you're literally calling back. You're giving this function, like I can actually define it like this too. I can say callback. There you go. There. So we have this function callback over here, and we give it to this other function that will promise to execute that after 5 seconds, right? And this is how you used to always have to do it. And that's the classic way, exactly, Hugo. This is the classic way of doing it. This is the old school way. This is the way that it had to be done before the later versions of JavaScript and TypeScript that supported promises. Okay, now I'm gonna explain the problem here. Why is this so annoying to do, right? It's because this callback, imagine that I have here a variable, right, that comes in, like my argument. And it's going to be a string. Now, if I want to execute one, I need to give a string. I say my special argument. There we go. Now, I want to use this within this callback. I want to read this. Well, I can't do it here, right? Because it's not in this scope, like it's here. So I need to give it to the callback. So very often what we would actually do is just write it directly inside here. So you can copy it from the scope and you can just say my argument here, right? So we have my arguments coming in here. We set the timeout, but we immediately provide the whole function. So we're not even doing this callback. We're just doing it immediately. Let me also just delete this thing and just go back to hello. There we go. Now, okay, great. This is a good start. But now let's imagine that I'm not just requesting one server, I'm doing multiple things, right? This is a normal program. You do multiple things, you wait for something, you wait for something else. And we're going to replicate all of that by constantly using this set timeout. And now you can start to see what happens to my code when I constantly have to provide callbacks. Right? You're in a callback, in a callback, in a callback, in a callback. Right, so and actually a great example is what I was just doing. So let's go to the real life example now again of talking to Google, right, to get my authentication for the user, right? I need to do here, I need to, let's see where it starts. Here I come in, this is my top layer function, and I will execute a normal function immediately called sign in, right? That's great. Then this sign-in function first does a fetch. That needs to wait for that, right? Then it needs to decode that fetch, which also takes time. We don't know how long that takes, depends on your computer, right? So we need to wait for that. That is not a, so this takes some time. Then we have this one again. So that's number 3. We have to again talk to Google. Now we have to give the token we just get back with our secret to get the information of the user, right? And then we have to decode that information again. So we're 4 layers deep. So if we go back to the promises I was doing, we are 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the same. This is literally the same, right? But look at how deep I am, by the way. Look at how many indentations deep this is, right? And the code looks like horrible. And they used to call this callback spaghetti, right? I mean, they still call it that, callback spaghetti, because you're doing a callback and a callback and a callback and a callback, right? 4 times. Super annoying. So let me call this the old school. And now let me show you the new school. Now we set this little word async in front of it. Async function new school. Arguments, string. Now we're in an async. So that means we can do await. Now, await is very special because it can wait. And await, but this is the problem. Set timeout is an old school function, right? This doesn't return a promise. I can hover over it. It returns a number, like a timeout number. So you can cancel the timeout. Like it's not the way it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna have to do something else. I'm gonna say await new promise. Actually, let me they used to call this promisify, but let me just say let me just make a separate function for this real quick. So this is my talk to server, and you let's see, and this will return a new promise. There we go. Talk to server. There you go. And of course, if you need to use this, if you want to use this value, then of course you can. So let's also do that. There. And then I guess set timeout. Let me, yeah, this is a good example. I mean, set timeout maybe is not. let's say this is a talk to the new server, and then I'll also make a function for function talk to old server. I mean, my example is getting a little bit ridiculous, but you get the point. So this is a callback, which is going to be a function void, and this is a actually, and that needs to get the answer right. Oh, that's actually important. So that's a result string. And then here we give the my argument. Okay, and this would do a set timeout of that callback 5,000 seconds. I should be able to give the callback. What's wrong? Result string is not assignable to. Oh yeah, right. So you'd have to. There you go. So this is the talk to the old server, right? Which uses a traditional set timeout. And this is the talk to the new server that does things with promises. Why is this wrong? Oh, I fucked it up. Talk to new server, talk to new server. There you go. And then this will become talk to old server. Now you don't need to do the timeout on this side. You do need to provide as a second argument, which is even worse, my argument. But this is the point. Like, I'm trying to show you the difference between these two. Oh my god, making a short out of what I just said is gonna be hard. Like, I'm gonna have to try to say it again in a certain quick way. 60 seconds. It's hard to put things in shorts. But okay, so here you see the two different ways to do things. One is with the callback spaghetti. And you see how hard this is, huh? Like, you see that I have these functions and I need to shove all my other stuff in there. So you get this kind of embracing pattern where everything is like nested in each other. Very frustrating. But okay, and by the way, the result comes here, right? The result is a string and it comes in here, so I can handle it here. And this is then result A, which you might want to give to, you know, in there as an argument. Let's actually do that, right? So I'm gonna call this argument arg A, and then we're gonna give that to this one, and then result A we're gonna give to the next, and then I mean, reading this already, it gives me nightmares. And again, you might think this is getting ridiculous and this is not, but you know, this is how it used to be, guys. Like, this is really, when I was a young child, when I was a young child, I used to have to do this kind of stuff. Again, and it's a real example because when I'm talking to Google, this is really what I need to do. Like, I have a result A that is, for instance, my initial request that I sent and I'm getting a response to it, but then I need to decode that result. So that becomes result B. That decoding takes time, right? I need to convert the JSON. Then I need to get some data out of there, make another request. So this is very realistic, right? Whereas here, it looks like this. So let's see, arg A comes in. Const. I mean, wait a minute. Arg A is not a good word, right? Like, let's start with my argument. I like actually my argument. There you go. So let's start with my argument. Then this will become result A that we give to the next. Argument unknown. Why? Oh, I think I need to explain what this promises. Promises string. And then set timeout, resolve my arguments, which is a string. Okay, yeah, it's a bit, the way I need to write it is a bit weird. But again, don't read this line because it's a bit fake, right? This would actually be a real HTTP request or some API that you installed with npm, right, where you can just make the request. So this is just to fake it. But okay, let's finish this example so I can talk about it more. C D result B result C, and then finally console result B. Okay, now tell me which of these two examples do you like the most, right? They literally took the old school JavaScript language, version like 3, I think, when they started to change it. They somehow skipped 4 and then they came out with 5, and I think 5 was the one that introduced this await and these promises. So yeah, this is why you would like to have an await. So you don't have to do this old school way. By the way, just to be very fair, if I talk to the new server, I can actually also do it by talking to the new server. Because this old server one is doing this callbacks strategy, right, with the function. The other way is to say talk to the new server, give it the my arguments, and then say then. That would be the same. And then here you get your function result a. Oh, sorry, function result a. So I should do this actually. I should rewrite it to be like this. Where am I? Oh yeah, okay. This is no longer, that's fine. Yeah, so I need to rewrite it like this. To make it completely fair, to make it really exactly the same. Like it uses promises now in both. Because this is the thing, a promise is an object, and you could still do it the old way using this new approach. So that's why I just want to show you this. This should be the right way to do it. Yeah. Still ugly as hell, obviously. Yeah, you go. This is live stream is saved, so you can rewatch this. And I'm also gonna make a short out of this. So I'm actually trying to think now, like how do I? So now I can remove this. Say talk to server, talk to server. There you go. Spotify where? Yeah, good question. I have the app running over here. npm run start. But it's not Spotify, it's just a music app that I'm working on. And it's just mostly interfacing right now. I don't need this anymore. So I could have like this, there. That's where we are currently. But again, we're working on authentication right now, making sure you can sign in with Google. I'll probably also add some other sign-in options later, but for now we're just doing Google. But then a viewer came in with the question, why am I using await? What is await? And I want to talk about the details of how this works. Thanks, man. Yeah, it can also do queuing now. In the last stream I added queues. And you can shuffle it, you can rotate it, you can do all kinds of stuff. Volume. It has a nice slider. Anyway, so I'm really working on it. But yeah, this is just a queuing system. I want to add playlists, and then I'm gonna yeah, this is Electron. This is with Electron. I turned off the frame, you know, so you can't see this is not a traditional frame, just like how Spotify does it. So I made these 3 icons myself. This is font awesome, right? So I'm controlling it all. And yeah, this is it, man. At least this is just a start, guys. Like literally this stream is probably going to keep going for a very long time, because I really want to make this a super realistic app, like something that if you were to work at a company, you would have to be asked to make something just as complex, right? Like a real, not a university project, you know, that you get a grade on. I'm not very interested in doing stuff like that because you guys probably already get that at university or you get that somewhere else. Like I want to give you an example of a real app that requires a whole team and months of effort to get to, right? So that's why I'm doing these streams, multiple a week. And to really, I'm gonna make a whole product out of this and then show you along the way how I built everything. And then you have this real sense of like, not just how to do it, but also just get this idea of like how long things could take, how big the code base could be, like really get this kind of industry experience without actually, you know, being in the industry, or at least not having the position of a senior developer yet. So this is like the life of a senior developer. That's kind of what I want to create over here. What am I using for the API? So I am right now in the API and I'm just using raw, straight up Node.js. HTTP module, that's it. And I'm gonna host this in a Google environment on Google Cloud Run using a Docker file. So I'm even going to do a little bit of DevOps later for those of you who are not yet familiar with how to turn a piece of code like this into an actual production ready, scalable server, and not just one server, but a network of these little APIs, right? I'm going to run multiple of them, depending, of course, on how many people visit. And I'm going to hook it all up to a really high performance database, and I'm going to just do the perfect example. I mean, I'm going to run this the way that I'm actually running some of my clients' code, right? So I have clients, and some of my clients I've done this work for already. Now I have to say that my current biggest, like I'm a freelancer, so you tried coding on the MacBook? Yeah, of course I tried coding on the MacBook. However, currently I like to use my big PC, which is Windows. I've only ever worked on MacBooks whenever the company provided me the MacBook. Currently, no company's providing me the MacBook. So then I'm just on Windows. Guys, I don't want to overpay for a Mac, you know. Because if I ever need some Linux environment, then I just start WSL, you know, WSL. You know, it's like Linux inside of your Windows. I love it. Like you can do everything in here that you can do on a Linux machine. I think currently I'm running Ubuntu in this one. Normally I run Debian, but the latest freelancer position I have in a company, they use Ubuntu for some reason, so I just use that now. But okay, okay. So back to promises, because I need to make a short out of this, and I need to think like, how can I condense this down? Let's see, what do I want to talk about? Man, this is so. I know you guys really see how the sausage is made, right? Like you guys are in this stream and you're seeing me like struggle to turn this into some content I can actually shove out onto YouTube Shorts. But I want to explain asynchronous event and promises. I mean, we can also show a promise, right? Like I can actually click on this and we can follow it. Ah, that's too hard. And also this is a bit weird. Promise. And you can see that we have then, and we have catch. Okay. How do I explain it? So when I start a new promise, we get two options, right? So a promise is an object, right? So this thing, and I even say that here, that this function talk to the server returns a promise. What does it promise? It promises a string. So again, the English word is really important, right? The meaning of the English word promise. If I promise you something, I'm saying like, hey, I don't have it right now, but I promise, right? Like you'll get it later. And so that's what the code is doing as well. It says like, I promise that I will give you this string as a response. I'll give you a response. But the thing is, it doesn't actually have to hold its promise. You can literally say, so when I'm creating a new promise, let's do that again. Let's say return new promise again. I can have, you can see here already, it has an executor, which is function I'm making now, that takes two things, a resolve and a reject. So we have a resolve and a reject. So I can choose, right? If something went wrong, I can say reject, right? Sorry, man. No idea why. And then else, I can say, oh, it went well. Then I can resolve. And I can say, here is your string, brother. There we go. So, and now I killed this one. So the reason, this is a bit weird though. Like in this specific example, I'm not waiting for anything, right? So you can see I'm immediately responding. And this has to do, so now we really need to talk about why do we need to even do any of this? What's going on? You need to understand that JavaScript has a scheduler. Like it schedules time on the CPU and tells the CPU like, hey, go and execute this code, right? Node.js, the program, is doing that. It's talking to your computer and saying, here, I've got this piece of code, please calculate this stuff for me. And whenever it needs to wait, it needs to schedule later to do it, right? So it needs to, like, and in this case, in this example, it doesn't actually need to schedule anything because this is all just one call. As soon as I say talk to the server, it goes over here, it creates the promise immediately, it executes this immediately, and it immediately, in this case, because this is always a true value, right? So let's put this on false. So that won't execute, right? But so now it will always resolve. So it'll immediately get the answer back. So it actually never needed to wait, right? We wrote the function as if it could wait because it is a promise. And you can see here that the promise structure, when I create a new promise, that gives me 2 callbacks, right? So this is kind of the old school way again. Like the old school way is where we have to like give the function of the next thing we want to do, and we give that to the original function, right? So, and we do that here too. So we get the resolve and we then execute it later. But then because we're wrapping this in a promise, this thing itself returns immediately. So immediately gives back the promise. And then this await function is the thing that allows the computer to wait. That tells the JavaScript interpreter, like, hey, go and wait for this promise, right? And it gives back a promise of a string. Wait for that. And once it's done, then give it to result A. So let's go back to, yeah, this is not going to be a YouTube video at all, man. I need to still think about how to say this better. But anyway, let's go to the real example again and show, like, let me actually make it even better, because this example is not perfect. Let me make it better. Let me make this function already async, so I can already do it here. I can say const raw is await this thing. So now I don't need to use the then, because you know this then you can recognize, right? That's the old way. So whenever you are, for instance, in React, I don't know, you guys, right? You write React. What if you're in a use effect, right? I can tell you already that a use effect in React doesn't have, oh, maybe I have a use effect over here somewhere. Use effect. So for instance here, right? In what if load gave me back a promise? Well, in this case it's a void, so that's useless. But if it gave me, if I had to wait, I can't type this. I can't do this, unfortunately. It says error. Because the way that the use effect is written is that what you need to return is not a promise. It forces you to send back something called a cleanup function. So a use effect requires a cleanup function to be returned. Where you can say like, okay, remove event listener, stuff like that. That's what you're supposed to do. So you add an event listener here, then here you remove it, right? So, and the that will fire every time the new use effect comes in. So if it updates itself. So that's what you need to return. So I can't put the word async here because this means when I write async there, it means a promise has to be returned. That's what it means, right? So, a promise will be returned. So automatically, even if I do nothing, even if I say here, return a string, this is now automatically becoming the promise of a string. You can even see that, right? Type promise string. even though I never said the word promise here. I didn't say new promise, but because I wrote async in front of it, it forces it made sure that it always gives back a promise of it. So that's another part of it, right? Now, I can't do that in this case. I can't return a promise because I have to return a cleanup function if I want to use the return value. So in that case, if this is a promise, then you could just do then and then write your stuff in here, right? Result comes in here and then you type your shit here, right? So that's the old school way. And you can still do that even with promises. So that's great. However, let's kill that. But I don't want to do that anymore. So let's not do the then. Let's only do the new way. Because now I can remove this and remove that. Which is, you can see how much nicer it is that we can unindent that whole thing. And just stay very close and just have one beautiful indentation. We're very close to the left line, which is very ideal, really what we want. And you can see now, so number one, promise number one. And then here we do promise number two. Here we do promise number three. And then finally here we do promise number four. There we go. So yeah, that is, by the way, can I provide the type to this? Is this a function? Unknown. No, it always returns unknown, and I can't seem to set it. It's really unfortunate. Because then I need to do like as this, but I don't like it. I want to tell people what this piece of data is, but like, yeah, it's unknown. So yeah, okay, it doesn't look as good, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So yeah, we have 4 promises over here. Now everything is completely flat because we're using an async function with awaits in the middle, and we're only allowed to use this because we have an async here. Okay, so yeah, that was a lot of talking. Let's go back to actually making this app work. Because I really, at the end of this stream today, it's already kind of late, I kind of want to end up with like clicking on a button here, opening a browser, signing in, going back to this app and being signed in, right? That would be the ideal situation. And therefore, for now, I'm just going to start my fake database over here. I'm going to say const fake database equals this object. And I'm going to say this is anything. There we go. And the database I'm going to do, of course, another stream. I don't need to do that now. But I'm going to say now that the fake database users is... Oh, let me also already put that in. Users and sessions. Those are the 2 things I'm interested in doing. And also, I already know I want nano ID. There we go. Okay, so we got users, we got sessions, fake database any. Maybe I should say... There we go. We got a fake database. Now we're going to say fake database users. And we're going to make up a user. Let's just save them by their email address for now. It's a bit dirty, but it doesn't matter. Fake users, user.email equals user. And then we're going to make a session. Sessions. Now here we're gonna just make session equals ID, nano ID, and the email is the email. There we go. So we create a user, but we also create a session, and we put the ID of the user. Well, actually, let's do this. Create another ID for that. So user is the user.id. There. And then here we say that the sessions is sessions ID equals the session. So now we're storing the user, we're storing the session, and we can send back, we just send back the session, I guess, in a special way that we're going to get to. In fact, I need to go to 302. Location. And I'm going to register my custom app for this. So I'll say shower and then the session ID. And the reason I do shower is because I'm going to probably call this app Shower Singers, which I don't know yet if I will, but it sounds funny. And it's like, because I want to make this also a singing app so you can record yourself and share what you sang, something like that. Because then I can do a lot more stuff with file storage and accessing the microphone and doing all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm thinking about just making it some random app. It's not just Spotify, it's also gonna show you the lyrics like Spotify can, and then you can sing it and you can share that with your friends and you can sing together. Maybe not real time, or maybe I could try that, but it's gonna be, I'm gonna add features like that. So I'm gonna make it a bit of a different app, further than Spotify or different from Spotify. But yeah, maybe I'll rename eventually also the stream title to reflect that fact, but for now it's fine. Okay, and then so we do a 302 to the shower protocol and we end. And I'm not sure, by the way, if I can actually open this. I think I have this code. Let me check it. Here it is. Let's go to this app over here, the client. And let's see if we can give this session ID to it. I need to go to the main. Can I just register it? I think I can just register it right here. And then let's see if this works. Console log hi data. Okay, so we're restarting here. Now I'm not sure if this properly registers the URL. I actually have my doubts, but let's do this. Local 8080, Google sign in. Oh wait, I need to restart my app. I need to restart the API. Because this is still the old one that doesn't respond back properly. This should now redirect. Open Electron. I think this is good, right? Okay. That's unfortunate. Error launching app. Cannot find module. Shower. It's not bad though. Is that backslash doing something I don't expect? It's not able to open it though, which is sad. Let's do some research on why that is. The name of your protocol without this. So I did that, right? I didn't provide that. If your app Electron this. That's frustrating. Do I need to provide the path? Because it couldn't find the path, right? Let's just find the exact error, because I'm sure we're not the first in the world to have this error. Let's just read carefully what it did. Yeah, I can't go to it again. That doesn't work. 8080 sign in. Unable to find Electron app. And this is, I think, called a custom protocol. What did this guy do? He said register protocol, ensure log. He did all kinds of stuff. Oh, that's not good. It's a bug. Well, that's good in a way. If this is a bug, then I haven't done any of this. Maybe I need to execute like register protocol. Okay, he made this himself. App is dev app and process is this. Then set default. Okay. Oh wow. So I think because I'm running in the development mode, I need to add some stuff, right? That's kind of it. And I am on the Windows platform as well, so this is all the same. So I'm gonna do this and see if that helps. Oh yeah, right. But is app dev? I just check for this value. That tells me if I'm in development mode or not. App protocol for me is shower. I really hope this works. If this solves it, then I'm going to be very happy. Okay, let's go. No, it's not happy with that. Only a real sign-in seems to be allowed. Okay, that's very good. It did immediately crash. Oh! Wait a minute. That is great. That is very good. Now I do have two apps open. Let's say I close this completely, close every one of them. This is looking good. But wait a minute, how does it execute properly now? I don't have it even running, so how could it? Now it can't run, right? Or have I already registered it once before now? No. It crashed. Oh, it didn't crash, I closed it. So yeah, I find this a bit weird. Like, I want to open an existing app when this happens. Here, close everything again, start again. I guess I'm not catching it correctly. Like I thought this would read it if it catches it. Let me ask Gemini for a second here. Oh. In Electron, how can I catch? How can I open an already opened no, how can I handle the redirection a call with a custom protocol in an already opened app instead of opening an additional instance of that app. Would you say Gemini is better than ChatGPT with subscription for both for coding? Well, the problem is I never paid for both at the same time, and they both obviously keep improving. So I think they're kind of comparable. It's just that in my life, whenever I had to choose between running on Windows servers or running on Google servers, I found Google better. And also the underlying architecture of transformers, um, and the technology that makes LLMs work came from Google. So they're kind of the OGs. I actually believe that Gemini is eventually going to be far better than ChatGPT. But whether that's currently the case is a totally different question. I think maybe ChatGPT still has the advantage. At least it has a lot of investors' money, but I mean, so does Google, obviously. Yeah, I'm a big Google fanatic and Google fanboy. I've even got investments into Google. Like it's been the first company that I've invested in. I um, I just really believe in that company, so I just use all their products. I used to always think about people who used to be such fans of Apple as like, why are you such Apple fanatics? Why does that even exist? Like being a fanatic to a specific company. Um, but I guess I'm a bit hypocritical because yeah, when it comes to Google, I really like their stuff. I love their cloud platform. I love their apps. I use their suite, right? Their workspaces and everything. There's almost nothing of Google that I don't enjoy. Not that I really think the company is holy in any way, obviously. I mean, nothing is holy, but yeah, I really think they're going to be the ones that eventually win the AI battle. But for now, I would say every LLM is a little shitty for coding. Like they're not really great. Like I feel like if you don't understand programming, reading the response of an AI can be annoying. And it's funny because I use the AI also for all kinds of other things like health and diet and other questions. And the scary part is that I only notice how bad it is when I'm asking programming questions, probably because it's the thing I know the most. Like when I'm asking a biology question, I'm just happily being like, "Oh, okay, the interaction of that whatever food with that protocol, whatever." I'm just assuming that it's right, but obviously LLMs are wrong all the time. Hallucinations, stupid code. Like just now, before when I asked the question, it gave like an example of some code that I don't think is even valid code. It wouldn't even be able to execute. Like let alone be the right or even optimal way to do it. So yeah. I don't know. Okay, this is interesting. Quit if not the first instance. Ah, so that lock thing that I was reading before from this guy, that makes so much sense, right? He did something with a lock, right? Didn't we see that? Register protocol, ensure lock. What is the ensure lock? Get the lock. If I don't have the lock, app quit. If app on second instance, this main window, window, restore, focus, and resolve protocol URL. Wow, that's great. So this is also what I don't understand. If you say, if you, like, look at this guy programming, right? Okay, guys, I already made a short about this, but look, he says, get the lock. Great. If not the lock, app quit, else do this. Why don't you just make it, if there is no lock, return app quit, and then you don't need the else. You don't need the indentation. It's so much cleaner. Why do people write such dirty code? Right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I never understand that. Make it clean, man. Okay, so but when does he execute this? He executes this in the constructor, so let's also do that here. We are just gonna do it. Well, I don't even need to be in the constructor. Well, I guess I'll do it within the create window. Or do I have to do it before we even create the window? On ready, and yeah, he does it before. Okay, so in this case, it's also for us kind of annoying because I can't initialize properly. All right, man. Well, thanks and enjoy. I'm gonna be streaming a lot more. Hopefully every week, like 3, 4 times. So yeah, see you then, guy. Okay, let's see. So we've got this create window, and we do all this stuff. By the way, I have not made this very beautiful either. to be honest. Let's call this an initialization and shove all this dirty code in there. And I'm also gonna shove all this dirty code in there. I'm gonna take all of these things and put it up in here. And then I'm gonna also turn this into a, actually, maybe I'll also just execute that in there. Oh, this is fine. And in it, I don't even need, I'm gonna make this a self-executing function. There we go. Now, const is dev equals there. Now I can make it a bit cleaner, all these questions about like whether we are in development mode or not. Okay, this is why we needed that create window function. So I do need to put this separate function, create window. And I will move it out then too, because I can. Okay, now we're going to clean this up. App request instance log. If that doesn't exist, then we return app quit. Now resolve protocol. Oh no, where is this function? He doesn't say it right. No, he doesn't say it. What is that? Resolve protocol URL. Let's see what Gemini did. Gemini said second instance. App on second instance, then focus on the main window. Command line find. Wait, what in the hell is it doing? Extract the custom protocol URL from the command line arguments. Send the URL. Oh, okay. Okay. This is actually fine. In fact, how do we this main window? I think that is just my main window, right? Like, but I have that one over here. How does he save it? How does this one get it? He says on second window, if main window. So he defined main window here. Oh, that's not very beautiful. That's not very beautiful, but I'm going to do the same thing. Main window. It's not good, but let's just do it anyway. Let main window is a browser window or null equals null. There we go. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, let's see. Oh, wait, my code is not yet ready. Win is not defined. Yeah, okay. Oops. I'll just do main window. Okay, let's see if this does anything. So it starts off fine, then localhost 8080, sign in, open Electron. Okay. That's not bad, right? Here's the arguments. Yeah, there. That last one has the ID. So I think we're good. I think we're okay now. Because I already have this other piece of code that, let's see, I was looking at before. I was thinking about how can I configure session stuff. Let me shove that in here. Although, what if what if there is no second session? What if this is the first session, right? But we're gonna have to test that later when I have to start from scratch, because I guess for now I can never do that. So let me call it a separate function. Function sign in. There, and this will come from Electron. So now what I'm saying is every time that you make a request to my API, I'm gonna add some random value, in this case user agent my agent. I could even do like something like authorization bearer. I'm not even gonna put bearer there, whatever. I'll just add whatever I want. In this case, I will add my session ID. And the session ID will come from, so let's see, what did I get? Like, you see this one? This code is what I want. This code right here. So I guess if I split on /, then I can get it out pretty easily. Right, so let's just get this out. URL. Then my const session ID is the URL split by the /. Now let's count, right? 0 would be this one. 1 would be the nothing space in the middle. So 2 would be the value I care about. There. That should be the session ID. And that I'm going to always shove into the authorization header so I can read it on the other side. Now later I'm even going to store this, but for now I'm just going to keep it like this. Now I know that this is the last of the arguments that I'm getting here. Where did I get that code? Second instance arguments come from here. Right, so we'll do const URL is the arguments pop, get the last value out, and then sign in with that URL. That should be good. And then what do we do? Because, well, we can test that, I guess. Yeah. So we need to add a button here that if I click it, we just make a request and we reload the random strings or something like that. It's just a fake request. It doesn't matter what the response is. Okay, good. So we'll say every time you click on the play button, the big play button, we're gonna also make a request. Or every time you click on play. Something like that. Just because I just want to test it. So we're gonna go to the player and we're gonna click play, Oh, there it is. Sorry, click play is in here. Click play. And it doesn't matter if you just click on it, even if you're not playing anything. Like I added this in order to make sure that you don't click it if there's nothing to play. Right, like, but I'm gonna actually make sure that even if you click like this now, it would actually make a fetch to localhost. Lala. We're gonna make a fetch request to Lala, with nothing inside there. It doesn't matter what type of request it is or anything. Let's see if we can show the network. Why is it constantly now executing this? Is that this thing? Wait a minute, why is this spacing out so hard? Uh-oh, that looks like our compiler is not really doing its job. Wow. Use fetch 7 is just getting spammed like crazy. Let's see, use fetch. Some of you might not know this, but in the last stream we did, we replaced the compile. We added a React compiler, which is experimental, that should automatically put automatically do use callback and use memo. It's very special, but the thing is, so this load is firing all the time now, and that's really bad. Yeah, the use effect just has load inside. I guess I'll remove it, but that's a really bad sign. Like, load should not be firing all the time. Even though I've defined it in a way that is normally wrong if you write without using version 19 of React with this custom compiler. Maybe I need to revert those changes then, because this should have been fine. Now, you know what I'll do? I will actually, just in this case, for now, I'll just put a use callback around this. And yeah, it's very concerning, guys, because this is not, I did not expect it. I did not expect I'd have to still use callback anymore. Because but it's triggering all the time. So yeah, clearly something went wrong. What can I say? So we're gonna put this back and re-execute and see what's going on. Yeah, now it's fine. Oh no. My React compiler is not doing its job well. Oh. Okay, well, we're gonna have to figure it out another time. For now, this is good. And if I click on the play button, does something happen? Nothing happens. Oh wait, I think I undid it, right? I used to have it all and then yeah. Now I make a request to Lala. So that's good. And now we can finally start doing the check. If I've signed in and I've given that code to my from the server, I signed into Google. I created a user object. I create a session object, and then I give the session ID to the app, and the app then permanently adds it to the authorization header so that I can check it in the API again whenever it makes a request there. So it's quite a lot of steps, but I think it is the right way to do it. It should focus on the window. I don't know why it doesn't do that, but okay, let's see. I now make this request. What is in the request headers? I don't see anything in the request headers. Did it even do anything? Let's see if it executes this and if it gets the session ID. Okay, good. Okay, this is good and it shows correctly. So yeah, this has executed that in my default session, when I make a request to localhost 8080, authorization header should have the session ID. Yeah, there it is. Great. Okay, it's looking really good now, guys. Like this means, I mean, obviously we still need to store that value here, right? This authorization header. I want to store it with some encryption on the device itself in the user data. So we remember the session that's currently signed into this app. And then we can also automatically on startup check if that value exists and set this web request. We also need to be able to sign out and undo this change. So there's a lot more to do, but the general flow is there. Now, I guess the last thing I need to do is if you start this app and you're not signed in, then I should do something. But maybe, how do I do that again? Gemini. Maybe for now I'm not gonna do it on click. I mean, I could do it on click because I have that thing. It's the same as IPC handle, close window and stuff. So okay, maybe I'll do it. I'll say sign in. Sign in. But now I can't. Something like open or Google redirect. Google redirect. Google redirect. There we go. Okay, let's move it here. Okay, Gemini, how do you open, how do I open an external URL from Electron? Okay, that's very easy. Great. Just need to import shell and then go to, well, this is gonna be localhost. I can hard code this, I think. Localhost 8080. Google sign in. What was it again? Localhost 8080 Google sign in. Yes, Google sign in. That's all good. Google redirect is good. And now I just need to make sure to add it to the bridge in the preload. Google sign in. Oh no, Google redirect. Sorry, that's what I called it. Google redirect, and now I have it in the Electron API exposed in my app. Oh, we're almost there. Hold on, stay strong. I'm just gonna do something like if you click on some nonsense, I'm gonna just yeah, I'm gonna finish this later because I'm getting tired. So I'm gonna just try to finish this. How do I what do I click on? I'll say something stupid, maybe like, where do I have these toggle windows here. I can add something to there, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna add an icon right there. FA, is there something Google? No. FA door open or lock. And then Google redirects. Google redirects. There you go. So now if I click on this little icon, it should open in this browser to sign in, which allows me to sign in and then go back. Wait, why did it already... Did it know I was already signed in? Didn't even show me. Isn't that weird? Let me restart the server. Because I didn't even see. I think, oh, it looks good though. Yeah, it gets a new session ID. It knows who I am. It seems to be fine. It's a bit weird. Let me also restart the API here. Okay, and then afterwards restart the thing here. Yeah, it gets a new one here. I should maybe also in my API, whenever a request comes in, I need to log the, let's see, I need to log the request header. So console log request headers authorization. Okay, let's see now. Restarting my API. I think this is gonna be it, guys. We're almost done. This stream has gone into quite a lot. It wasn't as smooth as my previous streams. I feel like it's not as easy to watch. But API stuff is always going to be a little bit annoying. So right now, by the way, we see when we get these requests, the authorization header is not set, which is correct because we haven't signed in. So now we're going to sign in again. And then when I click on this, yeah, there we go. We get the session ID because we've signed in. So a lot of the UI is missing right now, but we theoretically and also we don't have a database, but everything else, everything that had to do with everything in between has now been done. And I'm very, very happy with that. I need to go clean all this up. I'm going to leave this promises so I can talk about it later, I think. Did I have something still in my main that I don't want, like load URL? No, that's fine. Is dev still? I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup. If is dev, then do this. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Well, that was it. Thank you everybody for watching this episode. And again, everything is going to be uploaded on YouTube. The code is going to be committed on GitHub, so anyone can run this code themselves. Yeah, I enjoyed it, and we're making progress. We can sign in with Google. I'm going to do some UI next time around all of this, so it becomes a lot more beautiful. You know, get the sign in with Google button, make it look good. Add some loaders maybe, and then even when it's loaded, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use a database, and also I'm going to store a cookie, store the session ID locally using safe storage or something in Electron. So we're going to move forward, and then yeah, I'm going to slowly build out the app to be probably something like a karaoke kind of app, like singing app, recording app, uploading recordings. Things like this, share with your friends, kind of friend list stuff, social networking things. I'm gonna add so many features to this app and try to keep the code clean, try to keep the code you know, easy to read, easy to understand. I'm gonna have to do more explanations next time also about asynchronous functions, and I hope Hugo felt helped with this one. He asked a question before about await. So yeah, again, thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next stream.